Two fantastic games, of course. Moving on, Chris. England versus Switzerland from Dusseldorf. Could have been in one of the biggest stadiums. Obviously, Dusseldorf has got the least capacity, but it's been picked for whatever reason. I don't know the whys and the what fors. Obviously, bigger stadiums in Germany that could have had that game, but they've gone with that. It's fine. The Barmy Army will be there, of course. But Chris, as you said off camera, and I think a lot of people have been saying the same, England, the way they've been playing, just hasn't coagulated as such as we've spoken about with France and Portugal there, but they managed to get through. But as you said off camera, the Swiss, if they take the Swiss lightly, it'll be at their peril, won't it? Because they could potentially, they could be knocked out, couldn't they? Because Switzerland have looked, they're functioning as a team first and foremost, aren't they? So England need to be careful what they're doing, don't they? And they could be punished if you look at how they've played at the back at times.
And I think the midfield hasn't been fantastic for England either. You know what I mean? And I have had this complaint with a load of people with Trent, and I don't think Trent's a central midfielder. Time on the ball, it'd be fantastic. And maybe he could, use his amazing range of passing. But in this current England squad where, there's a lot of pace, but there's no runners. There's no one making any space for someone like Trent to be sitting in midfield. And I think after Trent, really, there's Mainoo, obviously, who's looked tidy in bits and pieces for England when he's come on. Conor Gallagher, I just don't know where he fits in the England team. There's Adam Wharton, isn't there? I don't know if I will see him in this Euros, at least. It's hard, Stuart, because I don't think they've performed at all. And, we've seen time and time again what it's like when Everton don't perform. I know we're using Everton as an example, but I think it's the easiest one for us because we've been poor and we've seen us turn up to a lot of games playing like England, and definitely not getting results. But, when you've got players like that and they just don't seem to be, I don't know whether they're tired from, their league and, the competitions we've played in England, but it should be the same for every player, internationally, if that is the case. Or are they fed up with Southgate? Is Southgate where they down tools purposely? Because, players do that. You've seen it enough times with bloody Chelsea over the years. When they get rid of a manager, they down tools, don't they? I don't think he picked the right squad to go to Euros either. I think there's a lot of players he could have still picked and that would have helped. And the formation, Stuart, I don't like it. And I don't like the players he's picked for those formations.
It looked almost better. Like when he brought Tony on the other night, it was almost as if you could go to a 4-4-2. And I was having this discussion. Me and my dad were watching the last group game when they played Slovenia last Tuesday. He goes, why can they not go to 4-4-2 at times? It's all this, you must play with three in central mid. We've talked about this, haven't we? But I think at times teams will go to the old faithful 4-4-2. You can change it, can't you? I know Bellingham can push up in some respects, but it's been shocking. They can't pass. They can't pass the ball. Again, I think there's too many individuals. It's been ramped up to the hilt, hasn't it? Over the years, we've had this golden generation and stuff like that. But he as you said, again, a lot of people are thinking it as well. Too slow with substitutions. He made 2 subs, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was a gap then. He did one in the 64th minute and then left it till, what was it? I can't remember, 80 something, was it?
I think it was like 2 minutes to go, Stuart.
What is going on? And, the pressure was really on. I thought they're going out. Everyone thought that. 2 minutes to go. And then, lo and behold, Jude Bellingham, although he hasn't set the world on fire in the tournament, does something out of nothing, Chris.
But that's what, you say world-class players can do. Yeah, he's not been world-class in this tournament. I think after the first game against Serbia, I think he's just, I don't know, like you said before, I think maybe it's positionally it's not working for him. I just don't think number 10 role is Jude Bellingham role. You said off camera, a number 8 spot for him in the central, maybe next to Declan Rice, and then push Foden or Cole Palmer in that number 10. You've got the left open. Then you've got Anthony Gordon, who will run at defenders. Not our biggest fan in the world, but you can't knock off what his style of football can do. You look at Saka and Foden. They're not like what Gordon can do, where he will force a defender back. You've got Eze who can do the same, but I think, you know, giving them 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, it's hard for them to, you know, to show up and take their spot. Ollie Watkins is the same. I think, do we have to play Harry Kane? Could we not go for someone like Ollie Watkins, who will stretch defences and is pacey? Harry Kane is still a world-class striker, and, you know, 9 times out of 10 will score if given an opportunity. But I don't know if the formation's not working for him. I don't think Kyle Walker's had the best season either this season, and I think Trent should have gone at right back. Trippier, left back is not his position, but
of course
again,
not. He's in a rock and a hard place there.
Yeah,
where you know, we've said about Jared. If it had took Jared, at least he could have adapted and played fullback if needs be. Luke Shaw, on his day, but it's the injuries, isn't it? And again, it's just some of the selections. Again, he's in charge, and that's fine. Ben Chilwell hasn't been fit for a long time as well. You know, he probably would have been a good option. Again, it's injuries in defence, but I think he picked wrong. One guy I will say that stood out though, Chris, and I slated him being picked ahead of Jared beforehand. I'll hold my hands up. Mark Gay. Mark Gay's been very good, although he got that yellow card so early on. He couldn't make the tackle, could he, when they got into the box in that game? We had a lot of early yellow cards, didn't we?
Well, I think that ref Stuart was on some sort of like, I need to book every single player on the pitch the other night. Some of the fouls weren't a yellow card worthy. And I think, you know what I mean, and was it 6 minutes in of the game and he's already booking someone? Let the game flow a bit at least. I don't know. I think, you know, Mark Gay is really, really good. And you think every Palace fan would tell you this. And probably Chelsea's youth system would tell you, you know what I mean, he was going to be a good defender. I like Mark Gay. I don't know if he works well with John Stones, though. I feel like John Stones, I mean, he's had a lot of injuries this season as well, hasn't he? And he hasn't played, you know, mass amount of games for City, has he? And I think he's been more midfield. You know what I mean? I think Pep's used him more in that holding role, hasn't he, when he has played for City. I don't know whether his time's up. I just think it's all slow and methodical, isn't it? And it just doesn't look like the England team that got into the final, you know, at Wembley against Italy a few years ago.
You know what? One thing that we'll be going for him, I'm not writing off Holland or Turkey, whoever goes through. You'd say Holland on the basis, especially of last night against Romania. They're on the right side of the draw here. Imagine they're on the other side of the draw. Oof. But again, that's not me discrediting Holland or Turkey. Turkey have done it, and we saw it in 2002 at the World Cup. They were semi-finalists. 2008 Euros, they did very well. You know, there's always a team that surprises you. I think moving on to them.